This episode of DDO Players News is brought to you by our friends over at the Skull Splitter Dice Company. For all of your dice needs, head to skullsplitterdice.com. From metal dice to regular dice, if it's a dice, Skull Splitter Dice has what you need. That is skullsplitterdice.com. And don't forget to mention DDO Players. If you're a new customer, they're going to give you a free set of dice.
Good day, everyone. This is Finally Needles, and welcome to DDO Players News, where we take a look at the latest news in DDO and on the tabletop. Please welcome my co-host from Ravenloft, Draculita.
Hey now, everybody. How's it going?
Hello there, Drac. I heard that you were cheating on me last week.
Maybe. Possibly.
Maybe.
And there might have been a joke after we got done recording about such thing. Lessa might have made a joke alluding to that.
Yes, I wasn't more. I didn't hear about it until it went on the air.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, long story on that. It was, we were going to record later, and then we decided to record earlier, and then it was a last minute. Yeah, it was a whole thing. So, There you go.
Then let's head into our news this week, where they opened up the Hardcore League. It started right on Friday, and there are, of course, a couple little known issues in there already.
Just a few.
A few.
Biggest one is character deaths are being broadcast at level 2 and above instead of the intended 10 and above. So as you're seeing all the people die on the hardcore server, a lot of those people you're not supposed to see.
Aha. Because when I've seen those names coming across, sometimes I was wondering, it sounded like people who are making quick characters to die so they can get onto the broadcast.
Maybe there was a couple of them that I kind of thought that too. Yes,
Yeah.
Gumpsgang is saying in the chat, so many deaths. Correct. So many deaths.
And boy, it really makes filming a YouTube series involving the hardcore server fun.
Well, yeah, you're going to get the world broadcast, but there's that.
Yeah.
And also the other known issue is the vendor mortality on the hardcore server only requires the character who has earned the appropriate amount of favor to speak to it in order to receive the award.
No, I don't understand quite what that means.
I didn't either, and I tried to test it, and of course I don't have anybody that's turned in a reward yet, so I don't know, unless they're saying that, like, if you die, you can still click on mortality and talk to him, even though it's not that character. Like, if you start a new character, you can click on I don't know.
Yeah, but you could talk on mortality no matter what.
Right, but you see, I don't know. I was going to ask Cordovan about this, and I forgot to ask him before, so I'm not exactly sure what that means either. And the map is displaying incorrectly in the Land of the Lost Souls, which I haven't been there yet, so I don't know even what the map looks like. So,
yep, haven't been there.
So have not died yet. So
I think some of those people that died quickly also were wanting to see what the Land of Lost Souls looked like.
Well, I would hope so, because I'm sorry, it's really freaking hard to die at level 1 or level 2. You got to try hard to die at 1 or 2.
Well,
like
since
really
since they're only starting to display at level 2, I was wondering why I didn't see a single level 1 death. I assumed that means nobody was crazy enough to die at level 1, but turns out, no, they started broadcasting at level 2.
Yep. So, and I know there was a thread over on the forums where people were talking about this. They were talking about changing this to level 10 like it was originally intended, but sounds like the community is kind of liking this 2 and above thing, so they might leave it at that.
Aha.
So just FYI. As Cordovan said, it's a feature, not a bug.
An unintended feature.
Gumsgang saying it's very fun talking to the people in guild chat who are in the Land of the Lost. That's right, they can talk in guild chat, but that's about all they can do. They can't click on anything, they can't do anything. You're stuck. You're dead. When you're dead, you're dead.
Yeah. Now, this is one that I thought was a little weird is we have temporarily disabled mortality, the hardcore league vendor NPC on the non-hardcore game worlds. Mortality will return to the non-core game worlds very soon.
Again, don't know why they took it off the main
I,
worlds.
I don't know why they're on the main worlds in the first place.
True.
I suppose that if you survive all the way to the end, you're eligible to pick up something, or it could be that that's to pick up the rewards if you won them at the end of it. So of course you shouldn't be able to talk to them
Right.
until the end of the
Yeah, I
event.
don't know. Some of these known issues were really weird, but
Yes. Known issues. We have weird known issues.
oh, Gumsgang is saying it's on the regular, and that makes sense. It's on the regular world, so you can claim the account unlocks. So you can get your
Ah,
eyes, your pets, your cosmetics
yeah, that's
on
what I
the
was
real
thinking
world.
of.
That makes sense. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I was figuring,
Yeah.
which is
Yep.
why until the end of the event, because you don't actually, because I thought a lot of the stuff you had to survive. I still haven't quite figured out it, because I think you have to survive in order to keep any of those items, or
You
some of the.
do. As soon as you like, if if you hit 1750 favor, you
Yeah.
need to go as soon as you can to mortality to unlock the eyes of darkness. Because if you die before you get to mortality, you won't get them because you're dead. So
All
the
right.
so the key is as soon as you reach a milestone, which would be like 1750 favor, 5,000 favor, the 10 reaper, and the 20 reaper, you need to go to mortality. Talk to them
Oh,
right away.
oh, it's not a case where you have to still be alive at the end of the entire season.
No, the only reason why you have to be alive at the end of the season is if you want to stay on the leaderboards and have your name up forever.
Oh yes, there is that.
That is depending on if you're alive at the end. The rewards, as soon as you hit the favor, go talk to them. It unlocks it on your account because they did stress that if you just say, "Oh, hey, I hit 1750 favor, cool. I'm gonna go ahead and try to go for 5,000 before I talk to mortality." No, do not do that
Don't do that.
because once again, when you're dead, you're dead.
All right. Well, so therefore that means going into a re-pretend dungeon right after hitting 1750 achieves nothing except make room for Lessa.
That's right. Opens up spot on the leaderboard for Lessa. That's all that does. It's forever going to be known the Lessa spot.
Yes, I thought it was really funny at the very, very beginning, where I think it was an hour into it. I was looking at the leaderboard for giggles, and of course, at the total favor.
Yes.
So I'm recording this at the time. Says, "Don't worry, this is the last time you'll see me on this board."
You never know. You never know.
Okay, a lot of people are going to have to die for me to be on that board at the end of the season.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see.
Yeah, yeah. I'm certainly not going likely to be hitting 1750 because
As
I think
I
I would.
said on the show last week, not going for the leaderboard. I'm going for 1750. All I care about.
Because I looked at my highest character that I have got, and that's the character that I hit level 20 with you. And I think that character had about 2,000 maybe.
Favor? Yeah, that sounds
Yeah.
about right.
Which means that means I would have to get to about level 20 to have any chance of doing this.
Yep.
Doing some pretty tough things, avoiding the crucible, of course. Oh, how's Les going to be able to go through this entire season without doing crucible?
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
Not crucible. I mean, wait, is it crucible that kills you, or is it shroud?
That's the shroud that kills you.
Yeah, shroud. That's right. That's right.
Yep.
Yeah, because I was thinking,
Yeah,
how
no.
can Les go through an entire season without doing the shroud? Right?
Yeah, exactly. Nobody's gonna run the shroud because
Yeah.
that one part in the shroud kills you. So, pro tip: don't run the shroud on the hardcore league. unless you want to, and then be my
Unless
guest.
you've unlocked everything you want to
Yeah,
unlock,
exactly.
and
You
and
want
you're
to
so
die
far off believing,
spectacularly. That's right.
yeah, and you don't want to, and it looks like you're not going to have any hope of being on the leaderboard at the end, then you might as well have a spectacular death. That's the only thing I think.
Exactly.
Then let's head into our Chronicle for this week. Chronicle issue 346, where it looks like the thing with the Hardcore League.
Yes. Shocking, I know.
Though those friends didn't look like they fared too well.
Well, they just opened up spots for Lessa. That's all it is. All it is. Yeah, pretty much. Hardcore League. There's really no DDO news other than that. So yeah, we'll jump right into the community spotlights. You interested in rating on Galanda? Click over and get an invite from Mike Cararto or Macaro. So they're opening up some raids on Galanda. So if you have characters on Galanda you want to raid, there's your chance. Click over and read the forum. And don't forget Mickey, of course, talking about raiding and blogging about such things. She's blogging about the new raid, Project Nemesis. Click over and read what Mickey has to say. Let's jump right into the Fansite news section. Update 43 Preview 2. The XP changes were the topic on the latest DDO cast. That is episode 568. We got a shout out for our episode last week. The Bio Break, which is SIP's blog, has a new post up: Volcano Spelunking and Slave Leia outfits. Click over and read the insanity from SIP. I actually read this the other night and I was laughing at the end. Read the article, you'll see why you'll laugh. Don't forget to watch DDO Sunday with Alex and Lynn over on the DDO stream. We had an episode of D&D Kasplat last week. That is Season 2, Episode 1, The Wandering Wyvern. That was, of course, on D&D Night on DDO stream. That's Patrick's group with the damsels, myself, and Tay and Rent, and Nobob from SSG. We have so much fun on that show. Don't forget Baklagor brings us Fridays on Ice. He's up to episode 131. DDO PL, they are playing a fresh TR. Doug Glendower setting sail with the Commodore on A Bard's Life. And Free DO with Cycle Blonde is running on the latest. So click over to watch her latest episode. We do have a Chronicle comment, and spoiler alert, it involves the hardcore server.
Oh, what a shock.
What would be the best way to die on the hardcore server?
Didn't we already just discuss that?
We kind of did. We kind of spoiled it because we gave our answers. That's my answer. Running the Shroud. That would be the best way to die.
Yeah. Especially after you cashed in all your rewards.
Or jumping from the top level of the Hall of Heroes to the bottom without Featherfall. I'm not going to name names. Somebody might have done that.
Well, I know it's been done before. One time I thought I had Featherfall and did it. Oh, no, actually, I was testing out a monk ability. I was thinking, does this mean that this helps to reduce fall damage? I could jump from the top of the Hall of Heroes? And, of course, I found out no.
Nope, yeah. Yeah, that was the hardest part of the hardcore server for me is trying to remember, okay, idiot, you don't have Featherfall. Don't jump. Because I don't ever, walk downstairs or whatever. I just always jump up of everything.
Right.
Because I'm used to having a Featherfall item. Yeah, that was the hardest part of me. I almost did it one time, and I'm like, oh, nope. Especially out
I guess
in Korthos, some of those, cliffs and whatever, when you go down to get the spider rare, I usually just jump down there instead of run down there, and I almost did that, and I'm like, what are you doing, dummy? Don't jump down there.
Oh, the spider lair? You mean you mean that spider lair, the one that's
the
on
rare
the landscape?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. The rare?
Yeah, the rare.
Yeah, I've never jumped down to that one.
Oh, yeah, see, I was just jumped down. I never actually run down the ramp, other than on the hardcore server. I did it twice.
My favorite jump spot, I guess, in Korthos is after doing all those levers in that huge room in Misery's Peak.
Yep. Yep. I
But of
always
so
jump there too.
yes. Now, I of course had the feather cloak and remembered to activate it before jumping, so I did survive the fall.
Oh, well, there. See, bonus points for you if you remember to actually click on the thing.
Yeah,
Comes.
yeah, because it's a clicky, not a
That's right.
permanent.
Yeah, that's always the hardest part to remember. Gumsgang is saying falling in the harbor. Yes,
It
the harbor is another one of those where those stairs. I never take the stairs. I just jump. Takes too long to run down the stairs.
takes too long to
Don't
run
do
down.
that without a feather ball, man. Bad things happen.
Bad things happen if you don't have feather.
That's
Yeah.
right. And we have no screenshot this week, which I don't know
What?
why. But so
Rude.
just imagine the most awesomest screenshot you can think of, and we'll say that's screenshot of the week because we have none this week in the Chronicle. So that's it. We're done with the Chronicle.
We're done with the Chronicle.
I mean, not forever, just for this week, but you know.
Yeah.
I guess the way I said that was like, okay, we're done with the Chronicle. We're good. No screenshot. We're never talking about it again. How dare they not put a screenshot in? No. We're done with issue 346. I'll put it that way.
Now, there was an update this week, wasn't it, to prepare for the hardcore server?
Was that this week or
Yeah,
last week?
Yes, so 42.4 was released on Tuesday, August 13. When did you record?
Tuesday, August 13th.
Okay, you
We
recorded
talked
it
about it on the show, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
You were spending so much time talking about the hardcore server, I wasn't.
That's how we started the show out, and then we mainly talked
then
about
you
the
went
hardcore server. But
yeah, that's where I knocked that out of my mind. Yes, and we're to talk about all those XP changes and I think that the reason for those XP changes is they were afraid people would take the cheesy way to get to level 20 on the hardcore servers.
oh yeah, I'm sure that had a lot to do
that's
with it.
yeah, the timing of it is just too much of a coincidence to say it wasn't related in some way.
That's right.
Or as it in Lotro is very often when they're on the legendary servers, they sometimes take whenever they getting ready to open up a new area, they take that opportunity to make updates to the area in question. In other words, they might not have done it specifically for that, but it gave them an opportunity to review everything because of this reason.
So what we have learned from this conversation, folks, is Pine
Yeah.
Leaf is wearing his tinfoil hat.
Let's head into our sales for this week.
Oh, okay. It's the Honor Your Guild sale. It's 20% off Astral Shards, Guild Renowned Elixirs, 50% off Guild Charters, 50% off Guild Airship Beacons. That runs through August the 22nd. And our weekly coupon code gets us a free lasting potion of Resist Cold plus 20. You get 5 of those with the coupon code Resist Cold. Also through August the 22nd.
Then let's head into our site news where Draculetta visited several vendors in order to give various interviews. It looks like you have 7 interviews here because you're making it sound like you had only 4 or 5. So you salvaged a couple of them.
I managed to salvage some of them, yes. Some of them, like the Fireside Games one, I did the best I could with it. My audio's not the best on it, but it was too good of a video not to put out. And the Funko Games one, that's the one where actually the camera itself malfunctioned. So that one starts off really weird. I lost about the first 4 minutes of the conversation. So the Funkoverse strategy game video just kind of jumps right into it. So it's really weird where it starts. But I did what I could do to fix them. At least I managed to get 7. I was afraid I was only going to get about 3 or 4. So there you go. That is our wrap up of our Gen Con. So yeah, we did Direwolf. That we talked about some of their latest board games that are out, and then we also talked about, of course, their digital games that are out. I did sit down with Justin from Fireside Games. That's the one where I apologize for the audio. You can barely hear me, but he sounded good, so I fixed it as much as I could. We stopped by The OP, which formerly was USAopoly, talked about all of their latest games, showed some of the games off. So if you want to see what some of the new games look like, check out that video. Talked to Cassie from Ravensburger about Jaws and Horrified and some of their other titles coming out. Stopped by Keymaster Games, took a look at Parks and Campy Creatures. Of course, we talked with Stephanie from Funko Games about the Funko Games strategy game. And started it off. The first video released was Goliath Games / Games Adult Played. Talked with Allie. Always love seeing Allie. And talking to her about the games from Goliath and Games Adult Played. So that was our Gen Con. And then there's a couple other posts I'm going to be putting up. There was a couple booths that just how crowded it was. I could not take video. So I am going to have a couple more posts come up. I did take some pictures. So I'm just going to do just like a wrap-up post. So look for that fairly soon to actually officially wrap up our Gen Con coverage. And once again, a big shout out to our sponsor for our Gen Con coverage, the fine folks over at the Skull Splitter Dice Company. SkullSplitterDice.com. Mention DDO players if you're a new customer. You're going to get a free pair of dice just for mentioning our name. How cool is that?
Then let's head into what's coming in from the dungeon. Where Eberron Rising from the Last War book is coming out from, Rising from the Last War?
Rising from the Last War. Yeah, this kind of came from nowhere. We knew there was going to be, excuse me, a book that was released in November because usually that's how it is. There is a spring book that comes out and then there is a fall book that comes out. And we haven't heard anything about the fall book until today. I got a press release from WotC that the new hardcore, man, see, I got Hardcore League on the brain, hardcover book for D&T 5e is going to be the Eberron Rising from the Last War campaign setting and adventure book. So if you like your campaign set in Eberron, you want to play an Eberron in 5e, you got a bunch of stuff coming for you. The book is going to provide everything players and dungeon masters will need to play Dungeons & Dragons in Eberron, a war-torn world filled with magic, fueled technology, airships, and lightning trains. Noir-inspired mysteries meet swashbuckling adventure. Will Eberron enter a prosperous new age, or will the Shadow War descend once again? You can dive straight into your adventures with easy to use. Words are very hard for me tonight. Easy to use locations, complete with maps of floating castles, skyscrapers, and more. You will get to explore Sharn. Explore Sharn? Yeah, we don't know anything about Sharn. That's a city of skyscrapers, airships, and Noorish intrigue, and a crossroad into the world's war-ravaged peoples.
Ooh.
And more. So yes, this is also going to give you 16 new race and sub-race options. Also going to include dragon marks, which will magically transform certain members of races in the player's handbook. So some good stuff coming in here. And of course, there's going to be some horrific monsters as well.
What else is new?
Exactly. You got to have the monsters, right? The MSRP on this is going to be $49.99. It will be available November the 19th. And as always, if you order from your friendly local game store, you're going to be able to get a special edition cover.
Ooh.
And then if you order from anywhere else, you're going to get the regular cover. But November 19th, Eberron Rising from the Last War, D&D campaign setting and adventure book on the way from WotC.
And that should be a particular interest to DDO players, considering that we do so much of our stuff in Eberron.
Yep. The original first half of the game, about first 20 levels, we're set in Eberron. So there you go. It's exciting.
But we do have a few things in the realms at level 15 and 16.
And paging Bonnie Bew because she's a big Eberron player and she's actually DMing some stuff right now on Fantasy Grounds with some Eberron stuff that she created. So, Bonnie Bew, here you go.
Let's head into our weekend gaming. And Drac, what were you up to?
Hardcore League.
Hardcore League.
Hardcore League. That's all I did.
All right.
Created a Rogue Ranger. I'm actually going to go to the Hardcore League with Mythery. If you listened to the show last week, Lessa volunteered Mythery for this. And Myth was actually pretty excited about it.
Okay.
So it kind of worked out. So Myth and I are going to run this and see how far we get. As I said, my goal is 1750. That's all I'm shooting for. If I get anything more than that, awesome. But if not, I'm fine with it.
As soon as you see 1750 roll over, you are running to
reality
as fast
as I am. I'll be like in my 1750. All right, we're done. That's it.
You're in the middle of a dungeon. Exit!
No doubt. So yeah, I created a Rogue Ranger. We're sitting at level 2, almost level 3. We've done all of Quartos other than Misery's Peak. That's the only thing that we have left. We ran every other dungeon. We're doing some of the Slayers and some of the Rares, but we're not really concentrating on that because you don't get favor for that. So there's really no point in doing that, actually. So we're probably going to run Misery's Peak and then jump into the harbor and start doing the harbor stuff this week. So we'll see how far I get next week. And then also we have a couple other characters on there that are just going to be used to run challenges, to farm the challenges so we can create some little bit better gear. So I ran my Warlock, which is going to be my challenge character, with the damsels over on the Damsel Show this week, which I think the video probably is up for that now. I don't know. I'll have to check on that. If it is, I'll link you the show notes. But I ran with the damsels. And of course, since you're playing with the damsels, you have to play an elite. That's just the rule. So we did all of Quartos on elite because damsels.
Because damsels, yes.
We didn't die. Just damsels. So you can watch that show. And I think Daylight continued on and did some of the harbor after that. But I had to get up. That was we ran that on, well, technically it was Sunday morning because for me we started at 12:30, and I finally went to bed at 3.
Yikes!
And I had to be up at 7, so I'm like, yeah, I gotta bail. I cannot do this anymore. So, but I think they continued on. I don't know how much longer they played, but you can watch that video and check it out. But
now I did see you log on at a same hour at least once during the week.
That probably would have been Damsel's Night.
Okay.
Maybe. I don't know. Unless I did create my Warlock at a weird time one night, though, so it might have been that one. I don't know.
No, I said a sane.
Oh, a sane hour. Oh,
yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, as opposed to when you were with the damsels.
Oh, yeah.
Insane hour.
Oh, I thought you said insane. I gotcha.
No.
Because every time I hear the word insane, I think damsels, so it's fine,
Yeah.
No, the other thing I did was some D&D 5e. We had the Water Deep Dwarves +1 drow. We ran another episode over on Evil Beaker's channel. I'll link the video in the show notes. We actually made it into the vault where the dragons are. Are we going to be able to recover them? I don't know. This show was so much fun. I don't want to spoil it. If you like puns, you're going to love the show, because all I'll say, and this is a minor spoiler. I mean, kind of. I had to do something to be able to get us to be able to enter the vault. That's all I'm going to say. And after I did this thing, the rest of the night was spent with puns and jokes relating to the thing I did to get us into the vault. It some of the jokes were pretty darn funny, but this I know I said this about the other game that I'm in, but I do believe I had the most fun I ever had playing D&D on Friday night when we were running this. This was so much fun.
You didn't die of pun digestion or anything like that.
No, I almost did because they were all directed at me because of what I did. But Evil Beaker did send me an email and he did say, come on. Some of that has to be related to the fact that I always bring up the fact that I got a medal for killing the undead beholder. That was kind of like the in joke for a while. They would like do something spectacular and I'm like, yeah, but you don't have a medal for killing a beholder though, do you? So some of this was payback for that. But I just want to remind those stinking dwarves that I'm playing with. If it would not be for me, you would not be in that vault. That's all I'm going to say. Watch the show and see what I had to do. That's all I'm going to say because if I say more, I'm going to spoil it. Just watch it.
All right.
Amazing time. So much fun. That's over on Evil Beaker's YouTube. I will link the video in the show notes. Amazing time. Evil Beaker did a kick-ass job of kind of changing up Water Dragon's heist to he's like adding to it and he's like tailoring it around all of our characters and he's like weaving us into the story. And if you wouldn't know any different, you would think this is part of the story, what he's doing. Beaker is just an amazing DM. Like I just hands down best DM I think I've ever played with, period. And I don't joke when I say that. I mean, that's like serious. He's amazing, the story he is crafting, especially what he did in hoping that what I would have to do, that I would actually do. He had something prepared for that. That was amazing, and I cannot wait to see where that goes because of what I now have, because of what I did. So, like I said, I'm keeping it vague. Watch the video. Amazing, amazing time. But that was my week in gaming. D&D 5e and hardcore. Pretty much my week. What about you?
I will begin with the regular server, the Dragonborn, where I played Dragonborn Artificer, level 17, and I ran Outbreak and Overgrowth in the Forgotten Realms area. So the beginning parts of the Druid series. Past 16, so I don't have to worry about Wayloon. So Outbreak and Overgrowth, I completed those two. Then the hardcore server came on and pretty much ran all of Korthos. That includes doing all the quests, even Misery's Peak. So I did complete that. I also did all the rares and all the encounters. Got up to 200 on the Slayers. So in other words, I wasn't speeding through in order to get introduce the time for favor as you were doing. Yes.
Yep. If you listened to the show last week, that was one of our tips. Don't speed through. Take your time. Go slow.
Right. So that is what I was doing. So I did manage to get that, and I was playing on there a halfling cleric using, let's see, cleric of, was it Siberly, or is that the name? In other words, the war priest
Yes.
type of situation.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to become an inquisitive, though right now, during the early parts, I was putting my points into the falconry tree And the reason for that is I wanted to unlock the use wisdom
Oh, okay.
for my skills. That because my dexterity isn't all that great, and when I start taking inquisitive spells, of course, I wanted to be able to have a pretty good hit chance with crossbows, and if I went that, I needed to be able to use wisdom instead of use wisdom for what it, and of course I'm a halfling, so that drops down my strength a little bit also. So therefore being able to substitute that for the strength also is pretty good for my character. So I finished up, got this stuff onto the falconry tree. So I went as far I think as I need to on the falconry tree. Now I'm going to be switching over to the inquisitive so I could get my crossbow items that I'm needing on there. Of course, one of the things I'm going to be absolutely positively needing to do is to actually find crossbow because I've not seen a single one yet. But I'm on Korthos, and Korthos isn't exactly known for its wonderful opportunities for treasure.
Yeah, exactly. Once you get in the harbor, that's where usually some you get some good drops.
Right. And then I'm hoping to either get a crossbow drop or for me to at least get enough money so I could buy a cheap crossbow. So I could at least start using a crossbow. Because I don't think there was a single way to get a crossbow. I think that even at the start, when you finish the first quest where you give a couple quests where you have all these rewards for just about every type of weapon in the world, there is
Yeah, I don't
the
think crossbow is an option.
there is a repeating crossbow,
Right.
but not a regular
I'm gonna say,
crossbow.
and I was gonna say, and you're not using repeaters, right? You're using regulars. Oh yeah, because you're gonna be an
Inquisitive.
inquisitive. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna be inquisitive, so of course I'm looking to use regular cross. And besides, clerics know how to use simple weapons, and repeaters most definitely don't fall under the. I think they're exotics. I'm pretty sure,
Uh,
or they might be special case exotic
I'm not sure.
requiring artificer.
I don't
So
use crossbows, so I don't know.
yeah, but yeah, oh, yeah, repeaters are at the very least exotics, and I think it's a long time before because I think that there might be a class feat along the way where you might be able to use exotics, but that's a long way away. And besides, I'm going inquisitive. And of course, I was watching some of the more ironic names that we were getting on there, where I'm thinking that people were probably trolling when I'm seeing some of these names because let's see if I could.
Either that, or they're just dying so much that they're running out of ideas for names.
Well, that's another possibility, but dying at level 2 and 3 is rather it's challenging, I think, to die at level 2. Now, okay, at level 2, if you're overconfident in going against the optional against the skeleton mage,
Right,
especially in hard,
which
you
Myth and I
can.
skipped. We're like, nope, nope, nope.
Yeah, since I was on normal and I had everything nice and prepared, and I was a cleric anyway, so I could heal myself, then I had absolutely no trouble with it. I said I shouldn't have too much trouble. Oh, and I made sure, yeah, and I was holding a mace. So it's like
So,
skeleton mage, whack, 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 boom.
what are you doing for traps?
Well, that's going to be a little bit of a challenge when I get to traps because Korthos isn't much on traps. You avoid most of those.
Yeah, but once you get in the harbor, what are you going to do? Because that's when a lot of those dungeons, there's quite a few traps you have to deal with.
Yeah, but isn't that true for most character classes? If you're not playing an artificer or a rogue,
Right. I was just curious because I was just shocked because I figured you would do artificer, so you could do trapping. Are you actually going to pull a quiver or pull an arrow out of my quiver and buy a gold seal rogue? Ooh.
well, that's unlikely to happen.
Oh, see, I'm telling you, gold seals are where it's at.
Hmm.
Oh, and another point about the hardcore server I did want to mention too is I didn't write any of the names down, but I had quite a few people that said they liked the show, they enjoyed the website, they enjoyed the podcast. So thank you for that. That was awesome. That was kind of cool about being on the hardcore server because you got to see a lot of names that you normally don't see if they they don't play on your server, and since it's everybody's together. We had quite a few people ask if I was the real Drac, and I'm like, yes, the one and only. We hope.
Real Dra-
And that was another thing. I was so worried somebody was going to troll and steal my name because I
Ah,
didn't get a chance to like make my character until late Friday night, and I was so worried. I thought, somebody's going to troll and just take the name, just so I couldn't. But I actually got Draculetta, so I'm awesome. I'm so happy. I'm
whee!
so happy I got Drac. I was just worried about that because Myth and I were talking when we were creating our characters, and we were both like, if somebody takes our name and we can't get our name, but no, we actually got our name, so it's cool. Mythery got hers too. So if you see Mythery on the hardcore server, that is actually her. If you see Draculetta, that is actually me.
Okie dokie.
And I'm assuming you're Pine Leaf. I'm assuming.
No, actually, I'm Pine Sib.
Oh, okay. Wow, I figured you go with Pine Leaf. See, you're just shocking me. Number one, you're shocking me. You're even playing on the hardcore server.
Well,
I'm
because
totally shocked at that.
Pine Leaf just didn't sound like a name for a cleric. So
Okay. Well, yeah,
at
you
least,
do. You do try to be all lore appropriate and stuff.
right. If I died, then I could use that for a druid. So that was pretty much on there. And checking some of the ironic names that I ran across, some of my favorite was, of course, at level 4, someone by the name of Healbot died.
That's ironic.
All right, you certainly weren't healing very well.
Well, maybe they were healing everybody else and not healing themselves.
Yeah,
That could be.
well, that's always a little bit of a problem. Now, I should note that I think this was the first time that I had done all of Korthos without ever summoning a hireling. I figured
Wow.
I just decided it wasn't worth because the hirelings, at least in some cases, are useless enough that they're not worth the extra 0.5 of a player that they add to the difficulty of the dungeon.
Another pro tip for you: at lower levels, like 1 and 2, maybe
Yeah.
up into 3,
Yeah,
Byron the Barbarian. The dude is amazing. Put him on aggressive, let him go kill everything. It's amazing.
Maybe I will do that. And especially since now I'm at level 3, that if I did want a healer, I've got that freebie gold seal.
Yep.
Because first character on the server, of course, if I get far enough past level 3 that character becomes useless, make sure it goes into shared storage so that it doesn't disappear if I get killed.
Right.
That's assuming, of course, I don't get killed at level 3, but we'll see. I'm trying to think what would be the next danger. Well, the next dangerous thing I could really think of is in the waterworks. There are a couple of places where if you're not careful, you could
Right.
just get
Yep.
killed.
Yeah, and then Waterworks, you're gonna start running into the Cobalt Shamans.
Yeah, there are those
Yep.
guys also
That's
are
gonna be. I
real
think
pain.
Waterworks is where I'm really worried. I'm not too worried about the other harbor quest. It's once we start to do Waterworks, that's when it's gonna be very, very slow and steady, methodically try to pull people, and just very,
I'll
very
make
careful in the Waterworks.
And I have to make sure that I take protection from elements because if you know what the trap is that's ahead and you know it has an elemental type damage, pop the appropriate elemental protection so that you don't take as much damage from it. At least that's what I'm hoping will work.
We'll see how that works out for you. I'll ask you last week. So how'd that work
Yeah.
out with those traps?
Yeah, we'll have to see. And what else do we have here? And that takes care of all that I did on that character then. As I said, get levels 1 and 2, all of Korthos, and I am at the harbor getting ready to start over there. Then in Minecraft, I ran the week 2 and 3 Mage Rages, which is where I go on the scavenger hunt looking for all over things. The second week took me a pretty long time to do, and the third week was a pretty fast one. Thankfully, because we had hardcore server stuff to do, right? And on tabletop, I played as Spirit Island. I played Spirit Island using the basic starter setup because that was my first time playing Spirit Island. That's an interesting little game there. Then I ran the first scenario in The Edge of Darkness. And I will have to admit to you, Drac, that working out the table logistics there.
I'm like, I read this in the show notes. And I'm like, we've talked about this before. What the hell were you thinking?
I don't know. But I must say that the logistics of playing that was quite interesting so that I would be able to fit everything onto my table. But I barely did. So it can work, but yes, it is a challenging in order to do it into the table space that I have. Maybe I should rearrange my table a little bit so maybe I could more easily fit everything. And yes, I did leave off the 2 optional boards because, yeah, there's no way in the world I would have fit them on.
I did. I read that and I'm like, seriously? Like, I can't even remember the game it was a couple of weeks ago. I was trying to figure out why you have. And then I'm like, Edge of Darkness. You like small games, small footprint table games. Let's just play Edge of Darkness. Why not?
Yes. That's why not. Yes, Spirit Island is a much smaller footprint than Edge of Darkness. And I've heard some people have ways of making that footprint even smaller because some people use it as a travel game, I've heard. And then the third one is definitely the ultimate small footprint game, Star Realms, where I think it's been over a year since I played Star Realms. I decided, let's try a game against the dimensional horror. I haven't tried this opponent yet. Set on the right now, I'm trying to go through all of the challenges on the beginner level to see what they're like so I could get an understanding of the feel for each of them. And after that, then I could go through each of them in the tougher levels. Of course, that's when I get time to play Star Realms because, as I said, the last time before this week was about a year and a half, I think. And that completes my week in gaming. We currently have 18 supporters on Patreon. If you'd like to help support DDO players, simply go to the donations page where you can support the Players Alliance on Patreon. There you'll find rewards, including a mention on a podcast of your choice, or even be a guest for an episode of DDO Players News. We did not receive any emails, but we did receive some special comments. Grey Pelt, on our last episode, what did Grey Pelt say?
Yeah, over on the YouTube version of it, he says, this has been one of my favorite episodes. Smile emoji.
Oh, what made it favorite? That Lessa was there or that Pineapple?
Probably because Lessa was there. Everybody loves it when Lessa's on the show. Because everybody loves Lessa. That's how it works.
Too bad she prefers weird hours.
Well, maybe.
Yeah. Then also, Ninth Pawn on our last episode had this comment on the site. Awesome news! I can finally play this game now that the intro quest key retrieval has been made easier. That water was way OP.
Oh, Ninth. Oh,
Yeah.
Ninth.
Now, I really think, though, that he should have had instead of a regular smiley face, he probably should have had a sarcastic face there.
True, yeah. That is in reference, once again, we talked about this on the show last week. For some unknown reason, which Les and I, either one, could figure out why they did this. In the grotto on Korthos, at the end of the grotto, you have to swim down to get the key to open the door. They changed that quest for some unknown reason where you don't have to swim down as far now. It's to help new players.
Yeah, and when I was running the grotto this week, when I saw how short it was, I had to laugh.
I'm like, seriously, if you had a hard time with that quest, I would like to talk to you just because I would like to talk to you because I have many questions for you.
What made it
And
hard?
if you had a hard time with that swim, I got some bad news for you. I'm
Oh,
just saying.
yeah. Boy, that is, of course, something else that we will have to get, and that is a better swim item, because right now, of course, I have that minute and a half item that you get after finishing the grotto.
Underwater action is going to be your
Yeah.
friend.
Actually, you know what would have been really maybe what they could have done instead is that they could have given you, instead of as a in the treasure chest, maybe Selena's could say, "Hey, take this. It'll help you to swim." And you get the
Hey, there you go.
and you get the swimming ring a little bit earlier, right?
Well, yeah, there's that.
And
I
that
don't
way,
know, but
they could put in a tutorial for how to use clicking magic items.
yeah. And I'm still just like that was too hard, really? Again, I'm being totally honest here when I say this. If you had a hard time with that section, please contact me. I would like to talk to you. In all seriousness, we need to talk.
We need to talk.
And I've got bad news for you if you have a hard time swimming. Bad
Yeah,
news.
there are some even worse ones that are down the road, that's for sure. We did not receive any emails this week, but if you'd like to send us one, you can send it to podcast at ddoplayers.com. And you could also follow us at Twitter, the Players Alliance at Players Ally, DDO Players at DDO Players, Dracula at Dracula underscore 72, and Pineleaf at Pineleaf Needles. And you can follow Drac on Twitch at Dracula underscore 72. The Players Alliance has two shows on Mondays at 7 p.m. US Eastern Time. We have DDO Players News, and on Saturdays at 8:30 p.m. US Eastern Time, we have Loja Players News. You can join us for our live shows at ddoplayers.com/live. And that's all for tonight. And this is Plenty Needles reminding you to quest responsibly.